Talia from Bella here. I just wanted to hop in and do a little tutorial about some fun, what we're calling camps in a bag. We're gonna have different versions of this throughout the summer, but right now we have two options of our camp in a bag. Mind you, we only have 5 of these each. We can make some changes if need be, but we're starting out with just 5 available for each. The unicorn set and this one over here, the monster set. Now the monster set, just so you know, we're gonna go over everything that goes in it, but what you see here with the monster set, you get a choice of the bank or the plate. It's not both, you get one or the other, but we'll talk more about that in a second. So yeah, our camps in a bag, they're $35. You get 4 projects with all the materials, and this video is going to be the tutorial for how to do these projects that are in the bag. Some of them are very simple and don't really need any explanation, so we'll just talk about them real quick. But some of them need a little bit more explanation and a little more direction, so that's what we're going to do here tonight. So let's start off here with the unicorn one. So with the unicorn camp in a bag, what you're going to get is everything you need to make this cute little clay wind chime. You're going to be making this out of clay. Your child's going to be making out of this clay. Making this out of clay. Sorry, it's been a long day. I was busy today. And then you're also going to get this little wood cutout in order to do a paint pour technique, which is really cute. You can add the child's name on there. You also get a slime making kit, a unicorn slime making kit, and whoops. And you also get a bag to decorate, and you can use markers for this, or you can use the paints that are going to be included, whatever you want to do. So this is where the camp in a bag comes from, because everything comes in the bag, all right, or with the bag, depending on what the kit has, as you'll see in a second. Some things take up a little bit more space than the bag. We need a little bit more room. So what does the camp in the bag look like when you pick it up? Well, for the unicorn camp in a bag, it's going to look like a pizza. You're going to get a pizza box, all right? And in this pizza box, you are going to have some newspaper, which we're going to talk about through the directions. You're going to have some ribbons. You're going to have this clay kit, let's call it that, okay? It's got your clay in here between the 2 slabs. It's got your glazes, it's got your brushes, it's got a little cutter there for you, all right? You're gonna get the unicorn cutouts. You're gonna get the paints for the paint pour for the unicorn cutout, the dishes and glitter, all that good stuff. In addition to all of the things that are in the kit, in the little pizza box, you will also have, because it won't all fit in there, you will also have your slime kit. Your slime kit has your activator, your glue, your other special powders and color, your add-ins, sparkles. We got silver sparkles, purple sparkles, iridescent sparkles. We've got some little fun little colored balls, and then a dish to mix it all in. Oops, what happened to my, and a popsicle stick. So all of that will be in there for you to make your slime. All right. So that is our unicorn kit. That's how it will come with all of those things ready for you to go. Now let's talk about our monster kit. So in this kit, you're going to get the canvas, you're going to get your choice of the bank or the plate to paint, and then you're going to get your slime kit to make your monster slime. When it comes to you, and of course the bag, when you pick it up, it's going to look like this. You're going to have the monster bag to paint. You're going to have your slime kit, just like the unicorn one, but for monsters. You're going to have whatever ceramic you chose. You're going to have the glazes, which I don't have in here right now, because when you pick it up, you can choose what color monster you want. And you're going to have the canvas kit ready with the instructions, paintbrushes, paint, everything ready to go. All right, guys, so we're not going to do a real tutorial on the monster kit because it's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, the canvas would be the only thing to give you instruction on, but those come written, so they're super simple. And the ceramics, you all know how to paint ceramics, so we don't need to have a tutorial on that today. And as far as the slime goes, we're just gonna make the unicorn slime. It's the same procedure, but with the monster slime kit. All right. So as I said, we've got 5 of each of these kits available right now. We'll add more different themes or maybe more of these as things progress. We're just trying to see how this goes if you're interested. You have the option, you can buy this kit and you can choose to come in here and work on it, or you can choose to do it at home, all right? So you don't have to do it at home if you don't want to. If you want to be in here so that we're here to help you if you need it, or you just want the mess to stay here, that's an option too. Remember, right now we're open Wednesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 to 4:30, Fridays and Saturdays from 11 to 5:30, and the second and fourth Sunday from 11 to 4. All right, guys, that's when we're open. So again, these kits, you can either buy them to do at home or you can buy them to do here in the store. All right, guys. So we're gonna get started. I think I'm gonna start with this clay kit because we're gonna let it dry a little bit, all right? So what you're gonna need to make this, you are gonna need something from home. What you're gonna need is a can, all right, guys? And remember that newspaper I told you about? This is what I'm talking about. So moms and dads, you might wanna help your kiddos out. You're gonna just take a regular old can from home and you're gonna wrap it with newspaper. It's really important that if you use anything else to wrap this can with, we want something that is gonna absorb moisture, all right? Nothing that's gonna create a barrier. So don't think you're gonna wrap it in cellophane and it's gonna help it from getting wet. Okay, so remember that little clay kit I told you about? So what you've got in here wrapped up in cellophane, and we've got, what you're gonna find when you unwrap this is you're gonna have a slab of clay, and then you're gonna have a damp paper towel on top, and that's just to keep the clay moist for you. All right, so you're just gonna peel that off. Once you open it up and peel off that paper towel, that damp paper towel, you're gonna have a slab that looks like this. I have already pre-rolled this out for you, the thickness it needs to be, so all I need you to do is measure it and wrap it around. So here's our can, right? See, it's nice and loose, I can pull it off and on. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off real quick so that I can measure, because I want it about the size of my can. I can just kind of roll my can across, okay, to give me a rough line. Yeah, Nevada, get nice and close to all the stuff I'm doing. They don't need to see my face, they need to see my hands. Just don't look at my nails, they're yucky. All right, so then this shish kebab skewer that you have in your kit is gonna be basically your knife, guys, okay? So we're just gonna cut, and it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. We're just gonna cut a line, okay? Just like that. Then we're just gonna take this guy and just kind of move it off to the side. Okay, once you've got it there, we wanna make sure our can is covered with our paper. Moms and dad, if you want to cover that paper with paper after, that's fine. I just did it before. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to line it up. I'm going to turn it this way, Nevada, so they can see it. And we've got the bottom of the can matching up to the bottom of our clay. All right. And we're just going to roll. And I'm going to turn it so you can see this direction as I roll. We're just going to roll, 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 and you're going to get, it's going to match up almost perfect. All right, if it's a little short, you can pick it up and just kind of wiggle it out and stretch it just a little bit. So you don't want to have a very big can, so test out your can size before you do this so you make sure your can is okay. But it should ultimately just barely touch like that, guys. All right. So whenever we work with clay, when we're joining two pieces together, it's really important that we do something called scoring, all right? So what I have right here is my skewer, right? And what I have right here is a little dish of water, all right? It's gonna help be our glue, all right? So we're gonna create a little zipper kind of thing. So right here on this side, we're gonna just scratch, 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 scratch. Make little scratchy lines. Now guys, this is really important, okay? Whenever you're joining clay together, you have to do this. And if you don't do it well, what's gonna happen is when we fire it, we stick it in the kiln to cook it, it is going to just come apart, okay? Now, for these things like this, like the flowers and the horn and all that good stuff, we want it to stick, we don't want it to fall apart. We want you guys to, you know, have it on there, but if for some reason you don't happen to get it stuck on there good, we can always glue it on afterwards, because this is not something we're going to eat off of, all right? But really, we want to make sure we get it together the way it's supposed to. So we've scored here, okay? And now we're going to score on the outside here, okay, guys? Because this side is going to match up to this side when we're done. All right, so we're just kind of making little scratchy marks. We're not going all the way through, all right? We're just scratching it up, roughing up the surface. All right, then we're gonna take our water and just a little bit of water on our finger, and we're gonna gently go over those little scratchy points. Notice I'm not going so hard that I'm rubbing out those scratchy points, all right? And then we're gonna roll it so that those two ends go together. Now let's see if Nevada can get a good picture of the squish. Can you see that squish in there, Nevada?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so now we're just kind of pushing it together. This is our glue. This is what's gonna hold it for us, guys. All right? And once we push it all together, it should stay as long as you've scored it and you've used that water to hold it together. All right? At this point, we're gonna just tip it up and let it sit for a sec. We're gonna check our little edges. Now, moms and dads, you can be the judge of this at this point. You can let this sit a little bit, maybe an hour. Nowhere that's really hot. Okay, we want to keep it kind of damp. If you are worried that the kids might be a little too rough with it, you want it to harden up a little bit, you can do that. You don't have to though. You can start right from this point. What we can do is we can push out that can like that, and we're going to have this tube. All right, and our paper's still in there, right? And we're gonna stand it up just like this, and I'm just gonna take this paper and gently push it down. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. One more thing I wanna do first. Got ahead of myself. Okay, so we got that tube, and then we're gonna take some more newspaper, and we're gonna crumble it up, and we're gonna stick it down in the middle. This is just gonna help kind of hold it together so it doesn't move around too much. Okay, and then from there we can kind of push this down. All right, you guys, moms and dads, you can cut that off if you want to. All right, so then you're left with something like this, right? It's pretty firm, it's holding together. All right, at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start working on the other parts. We're gonna make this little nose right here. And how do we make that little nose? Well, remember the little slime kit we have? Where's my slime kit? My little slime kit you're gonna have? We're gonna use this to make our nose. All right, so we're just gonna put it down like this. Like this, so our clay is about halfway through. Or you guys can do the whole thing if you want. And then just cut it in half. Let's do it that way. Let's just trace around this circle. Alright, so then we have this circle. I'm going to cut right here and pull it out, I think. Okay, then we got this nice circle. And then we're just going to cut it in half. Just like that. Alright. Now see all these little rough pieces, guys? We want to make sure that these rough pieces, before we're all done and call it finished, we want to make sure any of those little rough pieces are nice and smoothed out with just a little bit of water. And the reason we want to do that is because when we cook this and it gets nice and hard like this, if we don't smooth out these little rough pieces, those little rough pieces will be sharp when they're hard, and we don't want that, all right? So once we've got our nose all ready to go, we want to attach our nose to the front here. Y'all remember what we need to do? We need to scratch, 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 right? So what we want to do is we want to pick up our nose and kind of line up where we think it needs to go. It's going to line up towards the bottom, right? Once we kind of figure it out, we can do just a really gentle line with our stick so that we know where we need to scratch. All right, then we're going to scratch, 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 not all the way through, guys. We're just, and it doesn't have to cover the whole area. We just want it to get most of it. All right, and then this part, same thing. We need to scratch, 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 scratch. All right, back again with our water. A little bit of water here, a little bit of water here. Once we got a little bit of water, which is our glue, we're gonna stick it back where we want it. Give it a little push. Now we're pushing gentle, guys, because this clay is soft, right? We're just gonna push gentle. All right, nice and gentle. Okay, guys, nice and gentle. It really is best if you do this pretty much in all one sitting. just because your clay is all going to be the same moisture level. But like I said, if you want to let it sit out for even 20 minutes, it'll just give it a little bit. It's called leather hard, and then you'll still be able to work with it. All right, so now that nose is on there nice and good, I want to give him some little nostrils. So I'm going to take that skewer, I'm going to use the other end of it, guys, and I'm just going to very gently punch in some nostrils. All right, there we go. So then we're going to set that aside, and then we're going to make ourselves some ears. All right, ears are still super simple. Remember this guy that we had? We can, whoops, wrong end. We can cut off right here and cut off right here if we want. And then just squish, squish, squish. We're making little triangles. Squish, squish, squish. We don't want it too thin, guys. Remember how thick it is here? That's pretty much how thick we want everything, all right? So if you smash it out too much, that's okay, but then you can't use it flat. You need to smush it all back together and get it about as thick as this clay is, all right? So I got like 2 triangles here, right? So I want to stick them for my ears. Right, so I'm going to figure out, there's my nose, so I want my ears about here, kind of right about, there's the end of his nose all the way up, there's the end of his nose all the way up, about right there is a good place for ears. Now remember, anytime we want to stick clay to clay, we need to scratch, 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 right? Scratch, 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 a little bit of moisture, a little bit of moisture. Stick that little ear on just like that. Give it a little push. Now, I'm pushing with one hand, one finger on the inside here and one on the outside so that I don't squeeze it too flat. Even pressure, just nice and gentle. There's an ear, right? Now we're gonna get our other ear. All right, once we get those ears on, at that point, if you wanna just draw in, you wanna just draw in a little for the inside of his ears, just something for you to follow when you paint, or maybe you don't want that. Whatever. Now we're going to do his horn. We're going to take a chunk of this clay, and we're going to make a snake. You guys all play with Play-Doh. You've made snakes before, right? We're going to squish it and make a snake. All right. We don't want it super thin. Probably about your pinky.
Don't want it too thick either.
Yeah, we don't want it too thick and we don't want it too thin. We want it just right. Your pinky's a pretty good width for a horn though. Once you get your snake all squished out, you can decide how long you want that horn to be. And then I'm just gonna roll it here so I can get my finger marks out of it. I'm gonna gently squeeze the top like this to make a point. We don't want that point too thin, so just kind of gently squish, squish, squish. And remember, if you make it too thin or whatever, you can just squish it back up and start over again, guys. All right, that's the nice thing. If you're really taking your time with this, which is great, and it's really like being a long project, you want to always, all the clay that you're not using, cover it up with a damp paper towel just to keep it moist, okay? And definitely don't do this outside. I know moms and dads, you might be tempted to say, let's do this outside because clay is messy, but clay dries up really fast in the sun and then it's hard to work with. So we want it to dry slowly. So just lay some newspaper down or something, and clay cleans up pretty easily. Okay guys, so I got a little horn. I don't want my horn quite that long, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna cut it. All right, so after I've cut it, now I've got this little end right here, a little flat end. We're gonna tap it. Just like that, okay. We can use our skewer if we want. See how I've got some lines in there? Use our skewer to kind of go around it. If we want to put some texture in, it doesn't have to be perfect, just put some texture in. If you accidentally push too hard and go through your horn, smush it back up and start over again. All right, then we're gonna attach this horn right here in between the ears, right? So what do we have to do? We need a score. And then this is gonna be the tricky part. Right up here, guys, we're gonna have to score right there. This little ledge, right up here. It's gonna not be a whole lot to hold on to, but that's okay, because we're gonna score it really good. And what happens if it falls off? We'll just glue it on afterwards, okay? So then we're gonna wiggle it because we want it to stick. We can even kind of push it down. So on the back side where it's a little bit longer, I can kind of squeeze around it. All right, we're gonna be gentle and we're just gonna kind of push and push and push and rub. And that should be on there pretty good. Okay, guys. Once that's done, now we're gonna move on to our flowers and leaves. All right, we're gonna move this guy aside. Flowers and leaves are super simple. All right, we're gonna take some clay. We're gonna smush it. This is the one time it's okay to make this clay a little bit thinner than what I had rolled out for you. Because what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make little cinnamon rolls. All right, so we've got this nice and flat. You can use that can. Little cinnamon rolls, and then we're gonna cut little strips. All right, once you get your little strips, then we're just gonna gently, we're just gonna roll it on itself. Roll, 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 roll. And see, we got a little flower. I'm gonna just go like this and smooth out some things. Now, that's how I did my flowers. You don't have to do them like that if you wanted to, and you wanted to maybe do like little balls, little round balls, and maybe stick some petals on it. You could do something like that, but remember, if you got a ball in the middle for your flower and then you want to stick petals on, we got to score it, right, guys? You got to score it to stick it on. So every one of those little flowers, you got to use the water, and you'd have to stick it all the way around. All right, that's why I kind of like these, because you don't really have to do that. All right, so once you get one ready to go, you're gonna decide where you want it. Okay, and maybe if it's too fat, some of them are like that too. You can use your shish kebab skewer to cut them smaller. And if you have a little plastic knife, that works really good too. Or even mom might have an old credit card. See how we got a flat back now, nice and flat. Oops, wrong side. We're gonna scratch, 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 and we're gonna scratch, 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 scratch. A little bit of moisture, and then we're gonna stick it on. All right, guys. And you are gonna go around and do as many of those flowers as you want. All right. Once you have that all done, all right, we're gonna let it set. Let's see. We don't have the benefit of time, so I'm gonna try to be really careful here. So like I said, let it set for maybe half an hour, moms and dads, after they're all done with this. Pull out. And as you can see, you don't have to wait. It's just you have to be really careful, okay? Pull out our paper. Now, clay's a funny thing because you have to be careful when it's really wet, and you have to be careful when it's really dry. Those are the times it's most fragile, all right? Somewhere in the middle, at that leather hard stage, you got a little bit more room to work. Now, we're gonna pretend like we have all our flowers on there. We have our leaves. Leaves you just squish into a shape. And remember, every time you wanna stick something, you gotta score it. And then, and the water, and stick it on, all right? So now we're stuck with something like this, right? Let's see through here, right? So at this point, we want to make sure we get our holes to hang it, and we want to get our holes all the way around for our ribbons, all right? Now, I did mine, and I didn't hang mine close enough to the ears. See how he's kind of fallen forward? So you really want to make your holes a little closer to the ears, because that's where all the weight is, guys. So we want our ribbons to be right about here, all right? So we take our skewer, and we're just gonna gently push right through there like this. All right, other side, gently push right through there like that. All right, I'm gonna go all the way through. Holes at the bottom. You're gonna have 8 ribbons, so you can do 8 holes all around. So you'll have 2 of 4 different colors, all right? And we start just on the side of the nose and work our way all the way around. You don't want your holes too close together because your clay will crack, all right? So we're gonna and I just kind of guessed, we don't want it too close to the end because we don't want it to crack, so about there. It's okay if you don't get exactly 8 or you get them a little high. It's not a big deal. So once you've got all your holes in there the way you need them to be, you're going to have this nice little cylinder unicorn. And what I need you to do is I need you to set this somewhere that's not in direct sunlight, that's not in direct airflow, like by a fan or something, just a cool kind of damp place, or just not super dry place, all right? Because moms and dads, this is gonna be your job. You wanna make sure that it dries kind of slowly. We don't want it to dry super fast. Please make sure you put it on something stiff so that you don't have to touch it to move it. You can just move it on that. And you're gonna have these boards that come with your kit. There's 2 of them, so you can even use this board. All right, so once you're done, you're gonna make sure it's on the board so you can move it around as you need it. You're gonna have some clay left over, guys. Do whatever you like with that clay. If you wanna make some beads for jewelry or whatever you make with this clay, if it comes back to me on your board with your unicorn, I will fire it and you will be able to have that as well. Now, once all of your clay pieces have dried, either a couple hours or even the next day is fine, you can actually paint it. You're gonna paint it wet, all right? And what that means is your clay is still technically considered wet. You're still gonna go ahead and paint it. I just need you to do me one thing. Do not paint the inside. We need to have surface that is not painted so that when we fire it, all the gases can escape, okay? Because the glaze, the paint you use, is gonna act as a barrier and not let that happen. All right, so you're gonna have your paints. You're gonna have an assortment. Some of them might have blue and yellow. Some of them, you're all gonna have a green, and you're all gonna have this one right here, which is the gold for the horn. All right, and then you're also gonna have a little thing of black so that you can go back in and do the black details. And you got a fine brush and you got a fatter brush. All right, same thing with these guys. You guys can paint these as well. Just do me a favor, if they're flat pieces, leave one side without any paint on it, okay? So that when I cook it, the gas has somewhere to go. All right, so I think that is all you need to know about this guy. Once it's painted and everything, bring it back into me as soon as you can, all right? And it will last forever waiting for me to fire it, but the longer it sits, the drier it gets and the more fragile it gets, all right? And so we wanna be really careful when we move it, because when it's really dry, if you just barely touch it, it could break, all right? So if you can bring it into me when it's still kind of that leather hard consistency, which is hard to understand if you don't already know, but basically within the next day or 2, bring it on into me so we can get it fired. All right, guys. So that is all you need to know about this guy, I think. Once it's fired, all your colors are gonna look like that. I went ahead and painted mine wet too. And see the inside that I didn't paint? It's still bright white and shiny. Well, not shiny, but it looks shiny in there, even though it's not. And then when you get it back, you'll be able to use your ribbons to tie on the bottom and tie across the top. All right, so now we're gonna talk about this Fluid Art Core Technique unicorn, all right? I'm not gonna do it on this one because I don't want to waste one. This one's for you. So I'm just gonna do mine on the back of the one I've already done to show you, all right? So you've got this pizza box for a reason. It gives you something to work in, all right? You've got a white paint, you've got a pink paint, and you've got a purple paint. These are all thinned down with some special stuff to make them thinner. We're gonna go ahead and we are going to start with our white, and we're just gonna pour a little bit in there. This is actually looking a little thick, and that might be because it's been sitting for a bit, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more water to that. I'm gonna use this stick. Pour that a little, and just a little bit of the bottom, guys. We just want to kind of coat the bottom. All right. And then we're going to do a little bit of this purple. All right. And a little bit of this pink. You can do this in any order you want. But the idea is we want to kind of layer. All right, a little bit more pink. This is my test run with these amounts of paint that I'm giving you. So we're gonna see right now if it's really enough. I mean, it should be enough, but if I need to
Give you a little more.
give bigger cups, we will. Okay, but yeah, this is gonna be plenty. Okay, we're gonna do like that. All right. So then you're gonna go ahead. I'm not even using all of that actually. We're gonna put the lid on because these paint cups, if they're empty, you don't have to put the lid on, but if they've got paint in them, we want the lid on because we're gonna use these guys as stands, all right? And it's important that we have stands because we want the paint to flow off of it. So we want our unicorn to be raised up, all right? Then we're gonna take some of this white and kind of go around the edges. You can also grab a stick. I might give you guys a little bit more white just because it's kind of nice to have. And you can kind of, if you want to spread some out, we want it to be kind of wet. You don't want it dry. We're just trying to give it something to stick onto. But I want to make sure those ends get covered. Okay, and from here you have a choice. You can either drizzle it or you can just dump it all in the middle and move it around. All right, so I think I want to drizzle it. So our paint is all separated in there, you can see it. The important thing is we're not mixing it up because then we just make mud. So we're just very slowly gonna drizzle. And we're gonna spread out that paint. Then we can kind of move it around. I think I'm going to make sure you guys have more paint because I want to make sure that you got enough. We're going to let it flow around. And you can also take your finger and just gently tap. Just gently tap any little holes that aren't filling in. You don't want to rub because if you rub, it's going to make mush, like muddy mush. We don't want that. We want these colors to kind of stay separate. We just want to kind of fill in these holes. Okay, so I want to help, and by tapping it like this, you kind of help the paint go where you want it to go. So I want to bring it out to the edge. Yeah, I want to give you guys more white. It'll help it move around. And we can kind of watch it move. And we can turn it this way. You can use your finger and say, oh, it's not really moving where I want it to be. Or you can pick up some of the stuff in the bottom and be like, I want some purple there. Pick up that one. Yeah. Some more white right there. Now the important thing is, like I said, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more paint, or actually it's probably enough because you still had all this. I'm just going to make sure I give you more white. The important thing is you want it to be a thicker paint. You don't want it to be brushed out thin, so you want to keep it floating on top. But you also don't want it like overflowing, okay? So you want to kind of try to pour a little bit at a time. You can always pour a little bit more in areas you need to if you need more. There you go. I think that turned out pretty good.
I like it.
I do too. I like it better than the other one, the other side.
Every paint pour is different.
Every paint pour is different. That's absolutely right. Everyone's different. The other thing you can do, and I don't have one here with me, but you can take a straw and you can blow it if you want it to move around. You can kind of blow and make the little colors go different directions. We'll make sure we throw in a straw too. This is why I wanted to do this video, so I could think of all the things that, oh, wait a minute, it'd be nice to have that. All right, so once that's ready and you like the way it is, you just let it be, let it be, let it be. Oh, no, I lied, hold on. Because you got something else. I don't have any napkins here, so I'm gonna use this. You've got pink and silver glitter. So at this point, while your paint's still wet, if you want to, you can, I like to give it some sparkle. And then once it's all dry, what you can do is you can take some black paint or a marker after it's really dry and write your name real fancy on it and hang it on your door. That would be kind of a fun thing to do with it. Or just display it in your room. Ooh, I like how that's silver. Is that picking up, Nevada? The glitter?
You can see the glitter, but it's not necessarily sparkly.
It's
but
not
it is sparkly.
It is sparkly in person. All right. So then this is garbage, guys. All right. So that is how you do your paint pour. Super, super simple. Like I said, take note. I'm going to give you a straw because it's nice to blow and you can kind of push that paint around. I'm going to give you a little bit more white paint too because I want you to get a little bit more of a base of white down. All right. So that is our paint pour. And now slime. All right, guys. Slime, you got your slime kit. See, it says slime kit. All right. You've got your glue. You got your powder mix. You got your activator. You got your add-ins. And remember, this is the exact same process for every kit you do. It's just gonna have different add-ins, different colors, all right? Every kit that we do will have the slime to do it, so. What did I do with I lost my popsicle stick again. All right, so you're gonna take this cup and you are gonna scrape out as much of that glue as you can. After you scrape out all this glue, what I want you guys to do is I want you to go and rinse out this cup and rinse the lid so that you get the glue out, because this is gonna be your little container for your slime after it's made too. Something to hold it. Yeah, thank you, Nevada. All right, so from here, what we're gonna do, we've got our glue in there. Then we are going to add our powder, okay? I want you to make sure you add all of this because there's pink powder in here, or some of them might have purple actually, and there's white powder in there. We want all of that in there because we need to make sure that that white powder goes in there. All right. Once we get that in there, we just want to stir it really, really good, guys. Really, really good. Really get it going. And you'll see that pink powder kind of has a shimmer to it. Did that on purpose. Now, moms and dads, this one you might want to let them do outside. If you get slime anywhere that you don't want it to be, Windex helps get it out, just so you know. The bubbles. We want it really good in there. I'm loving that shimmer though. That color that I put in there is actually mica powder. That's the same stuff that they make like eyeshadows and stuff with. So we get that mixed in really, really well. All right. And then across the bottom really good. That's probably pretty good. Then we're going to take this guy. This is our activator. We are going to cut the end off of there. All right. And we are going to just pour a couple little drops in there, a little bit at a time. All right. And then we're going to stir. And see how it's starting to kind of stick? It's kind of gathering by the popsicle stick. It's not mixing like it was before. It's coming off the bottom. See that? It's kind of snotty looking. All right. We want to add in a little bit of this at a time. You get too much and it's going to be too stiff. So just 1 or 2 drops at a time and you mix, okay? Because if it starts getting too hard to mix, then you've got too much. All right, guys. And you see how it's starting to pull away from the sides? You see that? Probably add a little bit more. I'm being really careful. I'm not really squeezing it. I'm just giving it a little bit. You can always add more of that activator. You can't take it away, guys. So just start with a little bit and add more as you need it. All right, see how it's coming together? So as it starts to pull off the sides of the walls, you can kind of make a decision whether or not you want to start working with your hands or not. I'm going to give it a couple more drops of this activator. There we go. That was more like a few, because that was 3. All right. And then as it starts pulling off of the sides of the walls like that, see how it's stretching? At that point, ooh, at that point, you can, no, this is really important. If you've ever come to our slime birthday parties, you know I say this all the time. We always have 1 clean hand and 1 dirty hand. All right, guys? So with our dirty hand, we're gonna put some of this activator on our hand, kind of make it nice and wet, okay, in between our fingers. And from there, we're gonna go like this. And I'm just pinching it with my fingers, okay? I'm not doing a whole lot. I'm just kind of, because you don't want to squish it in between your fingers just yet, because it's too sticky. All right, you're never going to get it off. We just kind of want to work it with our hands, and it's going to start to pull away from the sides. Okay, and this kneading it with your hands is what helps it not be so sticky, but it takes a little bit of time. Remember, we got 1 clean hand and 1 dirty hand. All right. All right, so see now it's like not even hardly staying in the cup. Now it's just on my hand. All right, now we can add just a little bit more activator. Moms and dads, maybe you can help them get a little on their other hand at this point. And we can start pulling it like taffy. All right. Now, this is also a good place to put in your add-ins, but look what I've done. Oh, see, it's coming off my hands now. It's not sticking. Perfect. I'm going to use this. Use my teeth because I don't have another choice right now. They're not using our hands for the camera. We're going to add a little of these add-ins at a time, because the more add-ins you put, the stiffer your slime gets. All right. There you go. And see how it's still sticky? Don't add any more activator. Just keep working it with your hands. It's going to not be so sticky. No slime is the same. They're all a little bit different. All right. Let's see, it's starting to pull everything off my hand. It's not really sticking anymore. Just enough to kind of get the other stuff off. There we go. And that is our slime. We will pretend like I cleaned my cup, but we all know I didn't. If I've cleaned my cup, I can stick it in there. Okay, that is it, guys. There is your slime, your gooey slime. There you are. All right, so we've got a flow paint, we got a clay kit, we've got a slime. That is the unicorn. Those are tutorials on how to do all of that. Again, we've got the monster kit. These are online. We only have 5 of each available. So if you're interested in those, get online and order them. Give us 24 hours to put them together, and they will only be available for pickup or to come in the shop to do them on the days we're open, which are Wednesday and Thursday, Friday and Saturday, and the second and fourth Sunday. All right? So see you soon. Have a good 4th. Take care.